It is always so fun to be here with you on Sundays at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, to talk about your plan for the week and what you're wanting to create this week. And every week we have a conversation that's slightly different. Tonight we're going to be talking about curation and choosing to participate and belonging. These are all things that I have found to be important right now in my life as far as letting my words flow. And to continue with strength in this group, I would love to know what you all would like. So whether you're live or on the replay, if you could comment and let me know what you would like to see and hear, I would appreciate that. And to get the conversation going, I'm going to share some prompts for you. And you are welcome to use these throughout the week in your journaling, in your everyday things you're doing. Use these prompts. They will get you someplace, I promise. So, by the way, when you enter the room, please let us know if you have any questions, whether they're on the subject matter at hand or something else. We're thrilled to know that you're here. One of the things is StreamYard, if you've given permission for them to participate, I don't even know exactly how StreamYard works with this anymore. The one weird caveat is if you're commenting on the Let Our Words Flow Creative Community, I'm not able to see. For whatever reason, there's a weird variation with Facebook groups. So if you'll just put a comment in and say that you're here, then I can address you by name at least occasionally. I know it's weird, isn't it? Last week we talked about what you want to do for the rest of 2023. And there are now 91 more days of 2023. Have you thought about what you would like to achieve or what you'd like to experience, what you'd like to do or have or be that might be different than last week? I'd love to hear. And then finally, the review from last week is this question that has really done incredible things. This question has changed my life since I started asking it. And that question is, what do I wish I had done yesterday? Today I was talking to Catherine. And I was saying, okay, now I need to plan for the rest of it. Now I need to do things like I make my breakfast on Sunday for the entire week. And I meal prep. And I get my clothes ready for the whole week. I've become like a super prepared person, which I would have thought in the past that it would be something that would be nice, but I would never do it. And I said to Catherine, whenever I'm staring that down, I'm like, I don't want to do it. But my future self is so happy. So this week when I get up and I see my breakfast ready for me and I have my stuff by the door when I leave to go to work Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or in the middle of the day when I'm with Mari and I'm hungry, my lunch is made, it's just a fantastic feeling. It's just a fantastic feeling. So I see some of you commented and I appreciate that. Hello, hello. Very good. I'm glad Sheila's multitasking. Doesn't surprise me. Sheila's a master multitasker. I'm so grateful to see y'all here. It's a pleasure, and I'm thrilled. Okay, so I have some questions. Like I promised that there will be some things that that I'll be sharing that you could use in journaling this week, or you can comment here in the group and share as well. So the intention for me to do this, to have this topic about curating content and choosing to participate, is to let our words flow, each and all of us, and let our words flow in all kinds of communication. So for you, that might be writing, it might be speaking, it might be making videos, it might be drawing. Something about the connection that you have with other people elevates your motivation, your inspiration. And when you collaborate, that always ups the ante. It always makes things better. So here we go. I'm going to ask you some questions. Don't need to answer right now, but if you choose to, great. If you want to send me a private message, that's good too. But what topics would you be most excited to hear us talk about at the Let Our Words Flow Creative Community and also in JJS Writing Camp, because they're interconnected? Also, part of the JJS Writing Camp also is an overflow of my Instagram account, in case you didn't know or hadn't noticed, that a lot of what I post on Instagram is also posted on the Let Our Word, or is also posted in the JJS Writing Camp page. There's a caveat. Sometimes the posts there are longer and more detailed on JJS Writing Camp, but basically it's the same. So what topics would you like to see covered? And I have some suggestions. They're coming up. So would you enjoy having different daily topics? Like, would you like to have like, Monday motivation and gratitude Thursday, thankful Thursday, and stuff like that. If you'd like that, let me know the kind of topics that would make you want to participate more or would make you want to express yourself more. Would you like to have more lives and videos? Lives like this or videos that I've already prepared and you can watch at your leisure? Of course, you can always watch these at your leisure as well. Would you like to be a leader within the group? It would be great for me, especially since I'm working now and I'm also watching Mari 3 days a week. So I'm very busy, to have other people who will keep their eyes on the group and who might come up with their own ideas that I couldn't have thought of on my own. And then the other thing is, you may or may not know that I'm working on the 100 Days of Belonging. And so I'm curious, if you just want to put in the comments, when in the past have you felt a strong sense of belonging in an online or an in-person group? What made that happen for you? Any kind of input on any of these would be fantastic. I'm glad to see there's other meal preppers in the room. Sheila asked me, what do I make for breakfast? I make myself a breakfast casserole, Sheila, and it varies from week to week. It's funny because mostly they're egg based. So it has quite a bit of protein usually and vegetables, and it's really delicious. My breakfasts are really, really delicious. And what happens, because they're high in protein, I don't get hungry. So lunch rolls around, I usually have a salad. It's a very, very high vegetable based lunch. And, I'm usually full and I have lunch usually around 12:31. And it's just a really great fit. It's really working out well. And it helps me to feel like I'm taking care of myself. And taking care of ourselves, taking care of other people is a big part to help us feel like we're belonging. And so during this 30 days, I'm focusing on self-belonging. And so it all goes together. It's just like, what does meal prep have to do with creativity? Well, it happens when you've already made those choices. I know that sometimes I'll say, what am I going to fix for dinner tonight? I don't know, especially when you're caring for a family. What am I going to have for dinner tonight? That can take up a lot of real estate in your brain. If you've already done the prep, you don't even have to think about it. Of course, my mother and my daughter were tremendous when my mom's no longer here. Tremendous menu makers. I never got so great at making a menu for the whole week. There you go. There's a true confession. And then the final question I'm curious about, because this could help again in curating content, deciding what to share. What challenges do you have with expressing yourself, either in writing or in speaking with others? The overlap with this and belonging is that sometimes we don't feel like we belong because we are uncomfortable saying what we'd like to say, or we don't know if we'll be judged or included or appreciated if we express our true feelings. And if we can't be our true selves, we're not really belonging anyway. We are stepping into the fitting in category, a distinction that Brene Brown makes in Braving the Wilderness that I wholeheartedly believe in, that there's belonging and then there's fitting in. When we belong, it is from a soul place and it is from our true selves. And it is a situation where we're able to be exactly who we are, say what it is we need to say and not hold back. When we are fitting in, we are trying to mold ourselves to fit the standards of whatever we think is expected of us. And this can be true of our writing and creativity as well. In fact, I would say that my business started doing a lot less well when I tried to do what people told me I should do, that my success would come if I did it this way. And they would have their menu and their recipe book of how to do it. And I was much more successful when I followed my gut and my instincts. So that's been like for the last, over 10 years, probably a big barrier, that conflict between what has worked for me super well, which is more about being more authentic, being more true, doing what I know to be true, versus trying to fit into my square peg self into a round hole. So there you go. There's more true confessions. Julie just can't stop her true confessions. Sheila's asking more about the food prep. It's a casserole. So yes, I don't freeze the casserole. I put it in the fridge And I have food prep containers and I stick it in there. It stays good for a week. So there you go. You never know when food prepping can be just as interesting as writing about content and belonging. Um, anyway, so these are the things that I am staying in as far as this group goes. I would really love to know what topics. So I'll start there and I'll hang out for another couple of minutes because this is what I'd really love to talk about beyond my planning is what topics would interest you? Do you want writing prompts? Do you want to do more group stuff where we get together and write together in a group? Would you like to have stuff specifically on social media topics? Would you like things on personal growth and development? One of the things that I'm doing with my belonging project, what I find when I zero in on one topic, it just goes really deep and wide. So today I was listening to a podcast called Being Well. And I was reintroduced to Carl Rogers' work with unconditional positive regard as a way that he operated as a therapist and as a person who works with people. And as they were discussing unconditional positive regard, I realized that's what I've been doing all this time. And it felt so good to be recognized, to connect with that, and to have a way to express it to other people. Even in my work that I do 2 days a week, 3 days a week. Tomorrow when I go to work, I can talk about Carl Rogers' unconditional positive regard, because this is how I basically treat my students. One of the students in the English class that I'm in said, I said in class, and this is, again, a belonging thing, I said, there's no place that I'd rather be on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday than with you all here in this class. And the student said, why? Why is this the place you'd rather be than anywhere else? And I looked at him in the eye and I said, because I see the good in you. And I believe in you. And I want to see that good get bigger and bigger and bigger. And expressing that in words, in language will help you so very much. And he was like, wow, you see the good in me? I'm like, heck yes, I see the good in you. It's true. I see the good in humanity. That can be challenging these days, I know, for some people, but it's just been the way I've been the whole time. You like that distinction between belonging and fitting in. It's a really good one. It's in Braving the Wilderness. I'm leading a book club question. Well, I'm writing the questions for a book club that I'm in about Braving the Wilderness. Brene Brown, most people I know her, and it's incredible work that she's done over the years. She talks about it. I think the introductions in Braving the Wilderness also shows up in Atlas of the Heart. I hope that you will explore it. And I was going to say, if you watch the content that I'm creating, you'll see I will be talking about all of these topics there. And so that's part of curating content. Is this something that people are interested in? I'm also using this content in my blog, and the feedback that I'm getting there is that people are really interested. They're like, wow, I hadn't thought about it this way, or I'm really looking forward to hearing how this works out. And I guess it's time for me to be vulnerable. And how do I grow that vulnerability? How do I feel safe in saying the things that I want to say? And perhaps part of this belonging stuff is me making good on stuff that felt really bad. I felt bad for years, but especially came to a head in August after my mother's death, with stuff that happened with my family of origin. So healing is wonderful, and it's hard, and it helps. Writing helps that too. A quote from, let's see if I can remember off the top of my head. One of the things that I'm doing also that might be of interest, I should put this in the comments. I'm going to say writing fiction for healing might be a topic. I'm sorry about the loud sounds on my keyboard, to explore. Anyone interested? I am not a fiction writer usually. And I'm looking into doing NaNoWriMo this year and working on a novel. where I will take my own self and split my own self into 4 or 5 characters and work on some of the stuff, work it out in a fiction sense, and basically work on writing a novel just for fun. For those of you who don't know, NaNoWriMo is when you write a novel in November, National Novel Writing Month. It breaks down into 1,700 words per day. And for someone like me who writes so quickly, it's not as difficult as one might think. I can get out 1,700 words probably in an hour. So it would take an hour a day, which is a chunk. And if it helps me with my healing, and it helps me with belonging, and it helps me to grow, and if it becomes something bigger than I expect it to be, then why not do that? Why not take it on? So if any of you would be interested in exploring fiction as a way of healing and expressing your deepest stuff that you're not able to express as yourself, let's talk about it. I did that, or I use pseudonyms sometimes if I'm saying stuff that I think might hurt my family. So that's another way, or a loved one. It's a way to cloak yourself. And some people don't understand why one would want to do that. So I'd be happy to entertain a conversation around that. Okay, so I'm going to go back. I said a couple of minutes ago I would be closing us down. So let's go back over the questions again. I'm going to review from last week. What would you like to experience in these final 3 months of 2023? Is there anything we could do here to help you to achieve those goals, those experiences you'd like to have? And then as far as curating and choosing to participate, so how can we help you? How can I be of service as far as expressing yourself, whether that's in writing, in speaking, in making videos, in making art? Even in performance and theater, all of these things are areas that I have a lot of experience in, and that I've won awards in, that I know my stuff around, and I'd love to help you with any of those. But I don't, if you don't tell me, then I don't know. And sometimes I throw content out there not knowing if anyone would be interested, like this belonging thing. I'm doing this solely for myself and trusting and hoping that it will help other people along the way. So what topics would excite you? I know for me, sometimes I've been in online groups and I really look forward to knowing, okay, they're going to post at midnight and I really want to see what they're going to say. And first thing in the morning, I'll go to that group and I'll check out what's going on in the group. So let me know, because I would love to have that kind of a group, that kind of collaboration where you're all excited to see what's coming next. Also, very important, what challenges do you have expressing yourself? What I'm trying to think of how to, speaking of expressing, what gets in your way? How do you get tangled up? What excuses do you make for not getting things done? What things are coming up over and over again in response to your question of, what do I wish I had done yesterday? If over and over it says, I wish I had written that blog post. I wish I had worked on that chapter. I wish I had reached out to Julie and said, I'm really uncomfortable being vulnerable to others. All of those things. What challenges do you have? And you can send me messages outside, send me a private message. And then this, what would you enjoy daily topics? Like I was saying, if we had I love setting intentions on Monday. Part of the reason I started doing Sundays is because I usually start my week on Sunday, as I expressed, with all my prep stuff. But also I plan on Sunday. So like when we're done here, I'm going to be doing a lot of my day-to-day kind of nitty-gritty planning. And my other intention is to be upstairs at 9 and getting ready to go to sleep, because I get up really, really early. And then I asked, would you like to be a leader within the group? Is there some way you think that being a leader in the group would help you? Maybe you'd like to have a Facebook group, or you've had one before, but you didn't like doing it on your own. It can be lonely being the sole leader of a group. So let me know. I'd love to have more people participating. All right. So I feel like I've been talking and talking and talking and talking and talking, and I get tired of hearing myself talk sometimes, believe it or not. So if you're watching on the replay, let me know if you have questions. I will come back and I will check to see if there's any more input. I'm thrilled to have this opportunity to talk to you. We'll be back next Sunday at the same time. And maybe we'll have updates on some of this. Maybe we'll have more things on the topic of belonging, or Carl Rogers and his unconditional positive regard, or some of the Brene Brown stuff of belonging versus fitting in. I would strongly suggest you look up things from Braving the Wilderness. The book is phenomenal. And if you do read Braving the Wilderness, if you want to read that, if you want the questions that I'm writing for the other group that I'm facilitating for that book, I would be glad to share those. If you are looking at Brene Brown's Atlas of the Heart, I also made questions for Atlas of the Heart that you might like to guide your reading experience and to process your reading experience more. Oh, okay, that's totally fine. It's totally fine. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're here for any amount of time. There's a lot of questions, and I'm hoping that you will take those to the journal, take them to your journal and process them there. For myself, I'm not the quickest spontaneous responder to questions. I sometimes like to chew on them for a while, so I totally get it and understand that. So anyway, happy Sunday. Oh, good. I know Brene's amazing. She's amazing. And then here's my question that has changed my life this year. I'm trying to think. I got this from Tim Ferriss, if you know him. He wrote 4-Hour Work Week. He's a pretty interesting guy. And he put up his question in his personal group. I'm not in his group. I imagine it's really expensive to be a part of it. But I follow a YouTuber who is, and so she brought this into her YouTube channel, and that's how I found out about it. So what do I wish I had done yesterday? What do I wish I had done yesterday? And I tell you, that helps me to get up and out and do things that I would procrastinate on because I don't want to see the same stuff on my list week after week. Finally, one last thing that I'll say about planning. I said that I plan on Sundays. Here's my finisher's journal that I picked up again. It focuses, like a lot of planning does, on 3 things that you should, what 3 things do I want to achieve today? What 3 things do I want to work on? Right now, this week, I have 3 separate projects. Let's see what I wrote. Because I started this morning, and I'll be working on it tonight. I have not been consistent with this, and so I'm working on being consistent again because I believe in it. This is my to-do list for this morning. I always get fast out of the gate, and I tend to hit a block in the evening. All right. Yes. So I'm looking to create a product. I have a lot of products that are like 3/4 of the way done. I'd like to have one done this week. Probably a writing course because I realized I really miss facilitating writing groups. And then I have my secondary tasks I need to finish, or I would like to finish Thanksgiving Reimagined. My Rollover and Write journal, and then the Mining for Content Gold project. Those are all low content journals that I want to get done, as well as reach out to my designer for the haiku book, my book designer. So those are my primary work goals for this week, in addition to doing a lot of writing, because that's what I always do. So that's writing is the fun part of my work. Okay. Yes, thank you for the happy Mondays. Happy Mondays. I love Mondays. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me. We've been here 23 minutes. I don't know how that happened. I look forward to catching up with you next week. If you have answers to any of those questions that you'll see in the comments, I would love to hear from you about them, because I would love to make this group be something that you really look forward to coming to, visiting, participating in, and sharing your wisdom with one another. So thank you so much. And belonging, experiencing that belonging together. So have a great week and check in throughout. And I look forward to, that's what I just said, Sheila. I was going to the designer. That's my next step, the book designer. So I found a book designer whose work I love. I want it to be pretty. And I think that she'll make it nice and pretty for me. So there you go. Visually appealing is important. All right. Thanks, everyone. And we will see you next Sunday at the latest. Take good care. Bye now, everyone.